Hello, it's Concord Wind. Hope you had a good Christmas. I had a great Christmas, and it wasn't because of the gifts I received. Although I did receive some nice gifts, like this ReZero lanyard. It's really nice. You can't really see it. It's got ReZero, it's Subaru, and the rest of the cast. It's pretty awesome. It wouldn't the camera wouldn't focus in on it, so like you couldn't see it that well. But it's definitely a ReZero, and it's pretty awesome. So that and this like Japanese T-shirt that had Japanese writing and a cat like eating an egg with chopsticks or something like that. Like those are two of my favorite gifts. I think they really like my sister did a really good job. She's a good gift giver. But no, my favorite part about Christmas this year was giving the presents I got my family to everyone, like giving everyone the presents I got them. Like and this and anybody like if you watch my channel, um, or even if you don't watch my channel, even if you just stumbled across my channel, like part one and part two of the smelling salts videos on my channel have, I don't know how many views they're at now, but last night part one had broke 1,000 views and part two had broke 3,000 views. So, but I don't know where they're at now. They could be higher. And basically what those videos were was I got my dad smelling salts for Christmas. I was one of his Christmas presents, right? And we were all, and it's the world's strongest smelling salts. They're featured on the Joe Rogan podcast, and they've been featured on Rated Red, which is a much smaller YouTube channel. Not smaller than me. They're bigger than me, my channel, but I mean they're smaller than Joe Rogan. But anyways, it's the world's strongest smelling salts, and I guess it's pronounced or but I don't know, but we're all trying it, and it was pretty rough. Like it felt like I had strep throat when I took that deep hit on the part one video. Felt like I had strep throat, and my ears were burning, and my nose was burning, and my throat was hurting so bad, like I had strep throat. My eyes kept pouring water. I don't think you're meant to hit it deeply and with your nose really close to the bottle. I don't think you're supposed to do that because it was very painful. I wouldn't even be able to think of working out. I was kind of panicking. I don't know if you could tell in the video, but I was panicking a little bit, um, because it just felt like something was wrong because I was in so much pain. Um, and so that's why, like when in part one, when I told my sister, um, don't do it as bad as I did it. I mean, like what I meant was don't get your nose as close to the bottle and inhale as deeply as I did because I didn't want her to experience that because she's the type that would panic and go to the hospital over something like that. Like it's just, I'm pretty tough about things, but my sister's not very tough about things. Neither is my mom. Me and my dad, we're pretty tough about things because my dad inhaled it about as deeply as I did, which that's not on video, but he was talking about how his throat was burning and his ears were burning, and it's just like it's crazy. That stuff is nuts. and we had so much fun. We had tried it multiple times off camera. That was the videos that are uploaded to this channel are just the times that I tried it like uh, with my nose too close to the bottle and I inhaled too deeply. That was like the most severe case of it, you know, like. And then we got my sister trying it once, and she didn't do it very seriously. She had the bottle like here and smelled it, and you saw her reaction. Um, but yeah, like I don't know how I'm gonna top this Christmas. Like next year, I'm gonna have to think of something else to get that we can all do. You know, like because the smelling salts, even though it was a gift from my dad, it's something all of us were able to enjoy. And so I don't know how I'm gonna top this Christmas. But this Christmas was a special year, and I told everybody that. You know, like I was like, I probably won't be able to get as big of a Christmas next year because this year, I mean, I spent over $500 on everybody combined. You know, I mean, it was a very special year, and they even said as their favorite Christmas is a very special Christmas, and it was. And you know, I don't think I can do that again unless Trump sends the $2,000 check. But even then, I don't know how I can top smelling salts. There's really nothing else like that that we can do that we can like laugh about or make videos of or whatever. There's really nothing else like that. So I don't know how I'm going to top that. I mean, I thought about like THC pens or something, which would be retarded, but um, I think THC is going to be illegal in Tennessee in January, so that won't work. And besides, like nobody's going to want to hit a THC pen. You know, nobody's gonna want to do that. But yeah. So, anyways, my aunt Kim got me. I don't talk about her much on this channel, but you know, she got me $100 gift card, and it's just a Visa gift card that can be spent pretty much anywhere. And so I went to the gas station today, just like I just got home not too long ago. I got a cheeseburger and a Red Bull. I know I said I was going to be quitting caffeine, but yesterday, my mom, my parents, my mom and dad, one of the Christmas presents they got me was these delicious like strawberry milk and vanilla milkshake uh, protein drinks that have like 60 milligrams of caffeine each. And I didn't like. I went to bed really late Christmas Eve, and then my sister woke me up really early Christmas Day. So I didn't get much sleep. So like, I was getting really sleepy Christmas Day yesterday. And so my sister was like, "Do you want the rest of my ghosts?" And I was like, "Well, I've got those energy drinks that mom and dad got me for Christmas. I'll drink one of those." And I drank one, and then a couple hours later, I started getting tired again, so I drank the other one. And because I had um, like gone a day or two without drinking caffeine, I did okay. Like I only threw up twice. I didn't throw up every 15 minutes all day long like I did, um, you know, last the Sunday before this last Sunday, or actually it was last Sunday. Yeah, it wasn't before last Sunday. It was last Sunday. So last Sunday, you know, I was throwing up all day, like every 15 minutes. And but because I took a break from caffeine, it wasn't as bad. And so that's what I figured out with caffeine is that I can't do it every day for too long. One moment. All right, I'm back. I should have drank this when the video was paused, but it's not an energy drink. That's cotton candy juice or whatever it's called. So yeah, when I've had a break from caffeine, um, I can come back to it and only throw up like once or twice. But if I have it every day for like a week or 2 weeks straight, then I'll have a day where I'm throwing up all day long, constantly. You know, so I have to be careful with it. I can't do it every day for too long, and I have to take breaks. But because I had it yesterday, um, I just felt like I wanted it today, and I had the money for it. It's as simple as that. It's really not complicated. I wish it was complicated, and kinda, because then it would be more justified. But like, really, um, it's a test of willpower, which I apparently don't have much of. Because like, I've gotten a lot of candy, you know, for my birthday and Christmas and stuff, and as soon as I get candy, I eat it all, like all at once, unless it's like candy canes or something. I can't eat those one right after another. But like chocolate, I'll eat chocolate one right after another. And yeah, and then once I have caffeine, it's almost guaranteed the next day I'll have caffeine again. And it's because I experienced it. I was able to experience, how it made me feel good, and it gave me energy, and then I crave that and I want it again, and I need to work on that. I hope God will help me. And last night, probably, to be honest, this is gonna sound crazy. Maybe not too crazy, but my favorite part of Christmas was getting home, laying down and talking to God, and going to bed, and just talking to God as I fell asleep. That was my favorite part of Christmas, which I do that every night. And that was still that's always been my favorite part of the day, is laying in bed and talking to God. And it's no different. Christmas Day, Christmas is just another day. And my favorite part of the day was remained the same. It was still laying in bed and talking to God, because that is such a special, sweet moment. It's a precious moment where I get to spend time with God and talk to him and tell him how much I love him, and how I wish, he would climb into bed with me and cuddle up with me, and we could go to sleep together. And, which is, you might think that's a little weird for somebody to say to God. But I just feel really close and intimate with God. And, I love God with all my heart. And I, anyways, speaking of God, you know, the work that God has done on me was like reflected in the things my family was saying about me. Like my Aunt Kim called me on my birthday, and the things she had to say about me, and the things that I said to her, that she was very impressed. She said I was wise beyond my years. And she's 69, she's almost 70, and she thinks I'm wise beyond my years, and I just, the way I see my whole family dotes on me and loves me so much and treats me like I'm special. You know, I've read about situations such as these in God's words, and what God's words say about it is that when somebody was really good in a previous life, and their next life perhaps they'll be like the only girl born in a family of boys, and they'll be doted on by their family and treated very good, and even when their parents are old, they'll still dote on their little girl, who's like in her 40s or whatever, they'll still dote on her, and they're treated exceptionally well when they're a good person in the previous life. And I thought, I guess I was a good person in my previous life because my family really does love me and treats me really good. And, so like I must have been a good person in my previous life. And you want to know what? I still suffered so much. And I thought about it last night and I thought, why did I suffer so much if my family treats me so well? Like, it's kind of contradicting because, like, my family loving me and treating me so well and thinking the world of me is an indication of being good in a previous life, but the amount of suffering that I've experienced is an indication of being bad in a previous life, right? So I thought this is more complicated than it looked at surface value, you know. And I thought, well, I did pray for God's wrath to come upon me. That's the number one thing. And number two, Job obviously was very good and he had bad things happen to him. And I thought, God has done a lot of work on me and he needed me to experience the suffering I've experienced in order to become a better person because it's not enough. And I needed to be corrupted too because I was probably corrupted in this life to be a worse person than I was in my previous life, And I needed to be corrupted to that point, because that it's more of a resounding testimony to hit rock bottom and climb all the way back up out and stand victorious over rock bottom rather than like falling to the halfway point or a quarter of the way down and climbing back up. Like, that's not as impressive as falling all the way down and climbing back up. And so I needed to be corrupted very deeply and then perfected so that my testimony would shine brighter, you know? And like I was telling my Aunt Kim, my testimony could have gone in two different directions because that's how it is with people. When people experience suffering to a degree of like a degree to which like I experienced suffering, a lot of people take the path of becoming bitter and mean and resentful towards the world and towards people for the suffering they experienced, and so you know they become more deeply corrupted by their suffering, and that's a path people can take. And it's like, so there's some mean old man in a bar, and some young guys are joking around with him, and the old man, snaps at him, yells at him, or whatever, and they're like, "What's your problem?" And he's like, I served in Vietnam. You haven't seen the things I've seen. You don't understand the trauma I carry with me every single day. And then they all shut up, like, because they don't understand. But that's no excuse to be a mean person just because you served in Vietnam and saw horrible things. Like, you're not supposed to let that corrupt you and turn you into a mean, vile, disgusting person. Like, there's no excuse. Like, PTSD, whatever, there's no excuse for being a mean person. There's not. Like, look at what Jesus went through. And after he resurrected, he wasn't a mean person after he resurrected, and he's the example we're supposed to follow. We're supposed to be Christ-like. That's what Christian is being Christ-like, following Christ and following his example and obeying his words and accepting his salvation. That's what being a Christian's all about. And so, yeah. Yeah, I took the path of allowing my suffering to improve the person that I am, to develop more empathy, become a stronger person, become closer to God. My goals, some of my goals changed, some of my goals didn't change. My goal to become closer to God and be perfected by God, those goals didn't change. My goal of getting married, that changed. That's no longer a goal of mine. I don't, I don't really care if I get married or not. I might, I don't even look anymore. Like I used to, not even that long ago. And I've still got the dating app on my phone. It's Boo, the dating app for like introverts, and I would check that every now and then. And I guess that was me looking, but I don't even do that anymore because if it happens, it happens, and it probably won't, and I'm fine with that because I'm happy, you know. And a lot of people, like him was telling me, and my mom was telling me, a lot of people would want to be me, who would, because I'm a good person and I'm happy. Like a lot of people would want that for themselves. And my aunt Kim said the world would be well, the world would be a much better place if everybody was like me. That's what my aunt Kim said. And I thought, wow, she has like the vision, because that's God's plan is, I'm a prototype and God wants to make everyone like me. Pretty much. That's the plan, really. Um but I'm not the original prototype. Job is the original prototype, and really God wants to make everyone like Job. And so it's not really making people like me, it's making people like Job, making people like Peter, making people Christ like Jesus, like Almighty God. You know, it's to create a perfect world where everyone lives in harmony and there's no violence, there's no war, there's no theft, there's no adultery, there's no fornication, you know, there's no idolatry. Everyone believes in God, there's no atheism. Science develops on the foundation of a belief that God holds sovereignty over everything and that everything serves a purpose. That's how science develops in a perfect world. Instead of, because now science develops on the foundation that man evolved from apes. And what has that caused? Nuclear bombs, pollution, global warming, climate change, deforestation, desertification, or desertification, however that word's pronounced. You know, Science has developed on the basis of evolution and it's very destructive. If science developed on the basis of belief in God, then it wouldn't be so destructive. It would be beneficial to man's survival, actually. What is that? Oh, it's my book. I didn't know what that was. Um, so, yeah, I see the vision for, like God's plan for the world, and I want to contribute to making his dream a reality. And that's why I make these videos, even though it's a small contribution. But hopefully, those smelling salt videos will bring more people to my channel. I don't know if they will or not, but they might. Maybe, probably not. But it was worth the shot. And if nothing else, it can bring people some laughter. You know, on Christmas. Like it's a Christmas smelling salts video, right? So can bring people some laughter, and So it'll make either a teensy weensy contribution or a slightly bigger contribution. And the slightly bigger contribution is if it brings people to my channel. And that would be a slightly bigger contribution. And I only say slightly bigger because it probably wouldn't be many people it would bring to my channel, but um, it actually that actually feels like a huge contribution, because that's the salvation of people. So, anyways, if you're new to my channel, if you, well, I should have said this at the beginning because I don't know if anybody's gonna watch this far into the video, but if you have watched this far into the video and you're new to my channel and you found this video interesting, this video is just barely scratching the surface of what this channel covers. Um, we do a lot more like deep dives into topics on this channel. Well, I do. We do. Whatever. I don't know how to say that. Point is, this channel's got a lot better content than this. This is just kind of an update video and a little bit of an introduction to this channel, I guess, for people who might be new to this channel, which I don't know if there will be anybody new or not, but yeah, that's it. That's what I wanted to talk about. It feels amazing outside, by the way. It's like 65 degrees. Feels fantastic. That's why I'm not wearing my Snuggie because it's so warm. And it was like 72, like Christmas Day yesterday. Like during the day, it was like 72. And anyways, yeah, that's it. So God bless and goodbye. Thank you so much for watching.